The silver key lay in my hand, but I could not close my fingers around it. Across the garden, my daughter was drawing flowers with chalk. My son sat on the back steps, watching us with a hard, quiet face. Aaron stood beside me and waited. "This is not a promise you have to make today," he said. "It is only a way of saying that my door is open." I looked at the key again. 2 years earlier, I had watched my husband die in our living room. Since that night, every new door had frightened me. I was afraid that moving forward meant leaving him behind. My name is Claire, and I live in Cedar Hollow, a small mountain town in Colorado. The winters are long, the roads are narrow, and everyone knows who baked the best bread or planted the first spring flowers. Before grief entered my home, I thought my life was safe. My husband, Nathan, built furniture in a workshop behind our house. He could turn a rough piece of wood into a smooth table, a strong bed, or a chair that looked as if it belonged in a family for generations. He was 9 years older than me. When we first met, I was 20 and working at a small grocery store. Nathan came in every Friday for coffee, nails, and a loaf of wheat bread. He was quiet, but he always thanked me as if I had done something important. One afternoon, a storm began while I was leaving work. Rain covered the road, and my old car would not start. Nathan was in the parking lot, loading wood into his truck. He saw me standing beside my car and walked over without saying much. He opened the hood, fixed a loose cable, and wiped his hands on an old cloth. "You should be able to get home now," he said. I offered him money, but he shook his head. "Have coffee with me instead." That simple cup of coffee became a second one, then a walk by the river, then a life together. We married the next year in a small church near Pine Lake. I wore a cream dress that my mother had changed by hand. Nathan wore a dark jacket that was slightly too large for him. We had no expensive flowers and no grand dinner. But when he held my hands and promised to stand beside me, I believed every word. Nathan's parents gave us an old house at the edge of town. The floors made noise, the kitchen was small, and the roof needed work. To us, it was perfect. Our son, Evan, was born 2 years later. He had Nathan's brown eyes and serious expression. Our daughter, Lily, arrived 3 years after him. She had a loud cry, a bright laugh, and no fear of anyone. Our house became full of shoes, school papers, wooden toys, and half-finished cups of tea. Nathan worked in the shop while I managed the home. At first, I knew very little about his business. Then one evening, he placed a notebook in front of me. "You need to understand this," he said. Inside were customer names, prices, measurements, and simple drawings. I laughed and pushed it back toward him. "You are the builder. I am the person who reminds you to eat lunch." Nathan did not laugh. "I mean it, Claire. Learn where everything is. Learn how the orders work." His serious voice made me uncomfortable. "Why are you talking like that?" "Because life does not always ask permission before it changes." I told him he worried too much. Still, I began helping him. I answered calls, wrote bills, and ordered supplies. Sometimes I visited customers and showed them samples of wood. Nathan taught me how to measure twice before cutting once. He also taught me that mistakes were easier to fix before pride made them bigger. For several years, life moved gently. Then, on a cold evening in January, Nathan finished a large set of tables for the local library. We invited 2 neighbors for dinner. Nathan seemed tired, but he smiled as they praised his work. After they left, he helped me carry dishes into the kitchen. He suddenly dropped a glass. It broke near his feet. "Nathan." He pressed one hand against the counter. His face had lost its color. "I feel strange," he said. I thought he was only tired. I helped him sit on the couch and brought water. Before I reached him, he bent forward and held his chest. The next minutes never became clear in my memory. I remember calling for help. I remember Lily crying in the hallway. I remember Evan standing near the stairs, unable to move. I remember holding Nathan's cold hand while a paramedic asked me to step back. But there was nowhere I could step. My whole life was on that floor. Nathan died from a sudden heart problem. He was 41 years old. After the funeral, our house filled with people. They brought soup, bread, flowers, and careful words. They told me to stay strong for the children. I wanted to ask them what strong looked like. Was it getting out of bed? Was it answering the door? Was it breathing when every room still carried his voice? For weeks, I could not enter the workshop. Nathan's boots stood beside the door. His coat hung from a nail. A cup with dried coffee sat near the window. I left everything untouched, as if he might return and complain that I had moved his tools. My mother stayed with us during the first month. She cooked, cleaned, and took the children to school. I spent most days under a blanket, listening to the sounds of another person living my life. One night, Lily came into my room. She was 7 years old. Her hair was messy, and she held a small wooden rabbit Nathan had made for her. She climbed onto the bed and touched my face. "Mom, are you sick too?" "No," I whispered. "Then why don't you come downstairs?" I did not know how to answer. Lily's eyes filled with tears. "Dad went away. Please don't go away while you are still here." Her words cut through the fog inside me. I pulled her close. She felt small and warm against my chest. "I'm here," I said. "I'm sorry. I'm still here." The next morning, I went downstairs and made breakfast. I burned the first eggs. The toast was too dark. Evan ate everything without speaking. When I turned toward the sink, I saw him quickly wipe his eyes. That morning did not heal us. It only gave us one small place to begin. I started doing simple things again. I washed clothes. I packed lunches. I helped Lily find her missing shoes and sat beside Evan while he finished his homework. Then, one Monday, a customer came to the house. His name was Mr. Harris. Nathan had promised to build a long dining table for his family. He stood on the porch with his hat in his hands. "I am sorry to ask," he said. "But Nathan already received part of the payment. I need to know what will happen." Shame and fear rose inside me. I had forgotten about the order. "I'll return the money," I said. Mr. Harris looked past me toward the workshop. "Could someone finish it?" I almost said no. Then I remembered Nathan's notebook. That afternoon, I unlocked the workshop for the first time since his death. The air smelled of sawdust, oil, and cold wood. Light entered through the dirty windows. A wide wooden board rested across 2 work tables. Nathan had already marked the cutting lines. Beside it was his notebook. I opened it and found the Harris order. Every measurement was there. Under the final drawing, Nathan had written one short sentence. "Claire knows the finish Mrs. Harris chose." I sat down and cried. Even in a simple work note, Nathan had made room for me. I could not build the table alone, but I knew a retired carpenter named George who had worked with Nathan years before. George agreed to help me. He did not speak to me like a helpless widow. He showed me how to sand the wood, check the legs, and apply the finish in thin layers. My hands hurt. I made mistakes. More than once, I went behind the workshop and cried where no one could see me. But 3 weeks later, we delivered the table. Mrs. Harris ran her hand over the smooth surface. "It feels like Nathan's work," she said. I looked at the corners I had sanded myself. "Some of it is mine," I replied. She smiled. "Then I hope this is the first of many." That night, I entered the workshop again. For the first time, it did not feel only like the place where Nathan was missing. It also felt like a place where something might continue. While cleaning a drawer, I found an envelope beneath a box of screws. My name was written across the front. I knew Nathan's handwriting at once. My hands began to shake before I even opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Claire, I hope you never need to read this. But if you do, I need you to remember something. You were never standing behind me. You were always standing beside me. Take care of Evan and Lily, but do not disappear inside their needs. Keep part of your life for yourself. The workshop may feel too heavy. Keep it, sell it, or close it. Choose what helps you live. And one day, when the pain is not the only thing in your heart, do not be afraid of happiness. Loving life again will not mean that you loved me less. Nathan. I read the letter 3 times. Then I pressed it against my chest and cried until the winter light disappeared from the windows. During the next year, George helped me finish several old orders. I hired a young worker named Ben to lift heavy boards and make deliveries. I learned to speak with customers without looking toward the door, hoping Nathan would walk in and save me. The business survived. People in town called me brave. They did not see the nights when I sat on the kitchen floor because I had heard one of Nathan's favorite songs. They did not know that I still slept on one side of the bed. Grief had become quieter, but it had not left. Then, one spring afternoon, Lily came home with a bright yellow paper. A local art center was offering a pottery class for adults. You should go, she said. I don't make pottery. That is why it is a class. Evan looked up from his book. It might be good for you to do something that has nothing to do with wood. I stared at both children. When did you become my parents? Lily grinned. After you started acting old. I was 33. For the first time in months, I laughed without forcing it. The next Thursday, I walked into the art center with clay under my nails before the class had even started. The teacher, Martha, was a warm woman with silver hair and red glasses. She showed me how to shape a small bowl. Mine leaned badly to one side. It has character, Martha said. It looks injured. Then it has survived something. I looked at the weak little bowl and smiled. I returned the next week. And the week after that. The class gave me 2 hours when I was not only a mother, a widow, or a business owner. I was simply Claire, trying to keep a piece of clay from falling apart. One evening, I stayed late to wash the tools. A man entered carrying a wooden shelf. He was tall, with light brown hair and mud on his work boots. Martha, where do you want this? Near the back wall, she said. Then she turned toward me. Claire, this is my nephew, Aaron. Aaron placed the shelf down and wiped his hands. I've seen your furniture shop, he said. You make beautiful things. My husband built most of them, I replied. The words came out quickly, almost like a warning. Aaron did not look uncomfortable. Then he must have taught you well. I studied his face. There was no pity in it. Only respect. That should not have mattered so much. But it did. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk asterisk. A week later, Aaron came to the art center again. This time, he was fixing a broken window near the front door. Cold air entered through the gap, and everyone kept their coats on during class. When I walked past him, he smiled. How is the injured bowl? He asked. I stopped. You remembered that? It was difficult to forget. I laughed. The bowl was still leaning to one side, but Lily had placed it on our kitchen table and filled it with small stones. Aaron returned several times during the next month. He repaired shelves, carried boxes, and helped Martha move heavy bags of clay. He never stayed too long. He never asked personal questions. But whenever we spoke, I felt calm. One Thursday evening, heavy snow began during class. By the time we finished, the road outside was white. My car would not start. I sat behind the wheel and tried again. The engine made a weak sound, then stopped. Aaron knocked gently on the window. Do you need help? I think the battery is dead. He looked at the falling snow. I can drive you home. We can come back tomorrow for the car. I hesitated. He seemed to understand. Martha can come with us, he added. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. That small sentence made me trust him more. Martha sat in the front seat while I sat in the back. Aaron drove slowly through the snow. When we reached my house, Lily was standing at the window. Evan was behind her. They both looked surprised when I got out of Aaron's truck. This is Aaron, I said. He helped me because my car would not start. Lily opened the door before we reached it. Do you fix cars? She asked. Only very simple problems, Aaron replied. Do you fix bikes? Sometimes. My bike makes a terrible sound. Evan crossed his arms. It only makes that sound because she leaves it outside in the rain. Aaron smiled but did not take sides. The next afternoon, he returned with my repaired car. He had also brought a small tool bag. He looked at Lily's bike and fixed the loose chain. Then he noticed the wooden birdhouse near the porch. Did Nathan make that? He asked. My body became still. Yes. It's beautiful work. Evan watched Aaron carefully. You know about wood? He asked. A little, Aaron replied. I build garden boxes and fences. But I'm not a furniture maker. Evan looked toward the workshop. My dad was. I heard he was very good. He was the best. Aaron nodded. I believe you. He did not try to prove anything. He simply gave Evan the respect he wanted. After that, Aaron and I began talking more often. Sometimes we met for coffee after class. Sometimes we walked around the town square before I went home. He told me about his work. He owned a small landscaping company and cared for parks, gardens, and old trees. He liked planting things that would grow long after he left. That sounds peaceful, I said. Sometimes, he replied. Sometimes I spend 6 hours fighting one broken water pipe. I smiled. Aaron was 35. He had never married. Years earlier, he had been engaged to a woman named Paige. They had planned a wedding, but she became seriously ill. She died 8 months later. When he told me, he did not speak with anger. He spoke with a quiet sadness I understood. I stopped making plans for a long time, he said. So did I. He looked at me across the table. Maybe plans are not the problem. What is? Believing that nothing will ever change. His words stayed with me. One evening, Aaron invited me to a small garden show in a nearby town. My first thought was no. The second thought was Nathan. The third was guilt. I had gone for coffee with Aaron several times, but a full day together felt different. It felt almost like a date. At home, I stood in front of the bedroom mirror and held 2 shirts against myself. Lily appeared in the doorway. Where are you going? To a garden show. With Aaron? Yes. She looked at the shirts. The blue one. I did not ask. You needed help. Evan passed the door at that moment. He stopped when he heard Aaron's name. You're going alone with him? Yes. He looked down. For the whole day. Only until the afternoon. Evan's face became hard. Dad used to take us to places on Saturday. The blue shirt suddenly felt heavy in my hands. I know. You could take us instead. We can go somewhere next Saturday. He did not answer. He walked away. I almost cancelled the trip. Then I remembered Nathan's letter. Do not disappear inside their needs. I went to the garden show. Aaron showed me trees from different parts of the country. We ate lunch near a pond and watched ducks fight over pieces of bread. For several hours, I felt light. Then I caught myself laughing. The sound frightened me. I turned away from Aaron and stared at the water. "What happened?" he asked. "Nothing." He waited. I took a slow breath. "Nathan and I came here once. Before Lily was born. Aaron did not reach for me. He did not tell me to forget. He simply sat beside me. You can miss him here," he said. "I don't need the place to belong only to us." Tears filled my eyes. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. That answer helped more than confidence would have. When I returned home, Evan was in the workshop. He was holding one of Nathan's old measuring tools. "You should not be in here alone," I said. He placed the tool down. "Did you have fun?" "Yes." His eyes filled with anger. "Dad is dead, so now you can have fun with someone else?" The words hit me harder than I expected. Lily stood in the doorway behind us. She looked afraid. I closed the workshop door and sat beside Evan. "No one can replace your father. But you're trying." "No. You wore the blue shirt." For a moment, I did not understand. Then I remembered that Nathan had always liked that color on me. Evan's face broke. "You looked happy," he whispered. I pulled him toward me, but he pushed my arms away. "I'm sorry," I said. "I did feel happy today." He looked at me as if I had admitted something terrible. "And I still miss your father," I continued. "Both things can be true." He shook his head. "No, they can't." He ran out of the workshop. That night, I called Aaron. "I think we should stop seeing each other." He was silent for several seconds. "Is that what you want?" "I don't know." "Then why are you saying it?" "Evan is not ready." "What about you?" "I am his mother." That was not my question. I closed my eyes. "I can't hurt him." Aaron's voice remained calm. "I understand. I won't push you." He paused. "But Claire, protecting someone from every painful feeling does not always help them heal." I knew he was right, but I was too tired to hear it. For the next 3 weeks, I did not go to the pottery class. I worked late and came home exhausted. Evan became quieter. Lily stopped asking about Aaron. The house felt peaceful, but it was not real peace. It was only silence. One afternoon, George came into the workshop while I was checking an order. "You cut that board too short," he said. I looked down. He was right. I had made a mistake because I could not stop thinking. George leaned against the table. "You want to tell me what is happening?" "No." "Good. I don't enjoy long stories." I almost smiled. He picked up the short board. "Nathan made mistakes too." "I know." "No, you don't. You remember him as a perfect man because he is gone." I looked at him sharply. George continued. "He once built 6 chair legs in the wrong size. Then he blamed the ruler." Despite myself, I laughed. George placed the board back on the table. "Nathan loved you. But he was not the last good person in the world." "I know that. Knowing something in your head is not the same as allowing it in your life." I stared at the sawdust on the floor. "Evan thinks I am forgetting his father. Evan is afraid you will forget him too." I looked up. George's expression softened. Children often hide fear inside anger. That evening, I found Evan sitting near the back fence. I sat beside him. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then I said, "I am sorry I did not understand." He looked at the ground. "I don't want our family to change again." "I don't either. But it will." "Yes." His voice became smaller. "What if you love Aaron more than Dad?" I turned toward him. "Love is not a contest. What if you forget Dad's voice?" The question hurt because I had already begun to fear the same thing. "I might forget small things," I admitted. "That is why we tell stories. That is why we keep photographs. That is why you and Lily can remind me." Evan wiped his face with his sleeve. I don't want Aaron to become my father. He does not want that either. How do you know? Because he told me. Evan was quiet. Are you going to see him again? I don't know. But I want to. He picked up a small stone and threw it toward the fence. I'm still angry. You are allowed to be angry. Will you go anyway? I may go slowly. He thought for a moment. Can I meet him first? The next Saturday, Aaron came to the workshop. He did not bring flowers or gifts. He brought work gloves. Evan had asked for help building a raised garden box for the school. Aaron showed him how to mark the boards and hold the drill safely. He did not speak too much. When Evan made a crooked hole, Aaron did not correct him immediately. Do you want to leave it, he asked, or try again? Evan studied the board. Try again. Aaron nodded. That's what I would do. By the end of the afternoon, the box was finished. Evan touched the wood. It isn't as smooth as Dad's work. No, Aaron said. But it is strong. Evan looked at him. You really don't want to replace him? No. Then why do you like my mom? Aaron glanced toward me. Because she is kind. Because she works hard. Because she understands loss. And because she laughs at my bad jokes. I don't laugh at all of them, I said. Aaron smiled. That is what keeps me humble. Even Evan smiled a little. After that day, things changed slowly. Aaron came for dinner once a week. Sometimes he helped in the garden. Sometimes he played cards with the children. He learned that Lily hated peas and that Evan needed quiet before school tests. He learned not to sit in Nathan's old chair. I had never asked him to avoid it. He simply noticed. Months passed. The children began to relax around him. But my fear did not disappear completely. One night, Aaron reached for my hand while we were walking beside the river. I pulled away without thinking. His face changed. I'm sorry, I said. You don't have to apologize. I want to be close to you. But I feel as if someone is watching me. Nathan? Yes. Aaron looked toward the dark water. Do you think he would be angry? No. Then who is judging you? I knew the answer. I am. He took a slow breath. Claire, I care about you. But I cannot spend my life asking permission from your guilt. His words were gentle, but they were clear. I don't want you to. Then you have to decide whether your past is a home or a prison. I went home alone that night. His question stayed with me for days. A week later, I drove to Pine Lake, where Nathan and I had married. The little church was closed, but the wooden steps were still there. I sat down and took his letter from my bag. The paper was soft from being opened so many times. Loving life again will not mean that you loved me less. I read that sentence aloud. Then I began to speak to Nathan. I thought grief was the price of loving you, I whispered. I thought if I stopped hurting, I would lose you. The wind moved through the trees. But the children are growing. I am still here. And there is someone who cares for us without asking us to erase you. I looked at the quiet lake. I need to live. Nothing magical happened. No voice answered me. No sign appeared in the sky. But when I stood up, I felt lighter. I drove directly to Aaron's house. He opened the door wearing an old shirt covered in soil. I have been unfair to you, I said. He waited. I asked you to stand beside me, but I kept one foot turned toward the past. I never asked you to turn away from it. I know. I stepped closer. I don't want to lose what we could become. Aaron's eyes softened. Neither do I. This time, when he reached for my hand, I did not pull away. During the next year, our two lives slowly joined. Aaron helped me build a small garden beside the workshop. I helped him create wooden signs for his landscaping projects. Lily started growing herbs in old pots. Evan joined a school soccer team, and Aaron attended every game he could. Some days were easy. Some were not. On Nathan's birthday, I became quiet and distant. Aaron made dinner and gave me space. Later, he sat with us while Evan told stories about his father. No one tried to make the evening happier than it was. That was when I understood something important. Aaron did not love only the healed parts of me. He accepted the parts that still hurt. One summer evening, he came to our house carrying a small wooden box. We were in the garden. Lily was drawing with chalk, and Evan was sitting on the steps. Aaron placed the box in my hands. Inside was a silver key on a simple chain. "It is the key to my house," he said. I stared at it. "This is not a promise you have to make today. It is only a way of saying that my door is open." The garden became very quiet. I thought of Nathan's workshop. I thought of the church steps near Pine Lake. I thought of every morning when I had forced myself out of bed because 2 children still needed their mother. Then I looked at Aaron. "I don't want another house," I said. His face fell for 1 second. Then I continued. "I want you to come home with us." Lily jumped up. "You mean live here?" I looked at Evan. He was older now. His face was still serious, but there was no anger in it. Aaron turned toward him. "What do you think?" Evan looked at the workshop, then at the garden box they had built together. "You can move in," he said. "But you cannot use my room for your plants." Aaron smiled. "That seems fair." Lily threw her arms around him. A month later, Aaron moved into our house. He brought books, work clothes, a guitar, and more plants than we had windows. He did not move Nathan's chair. Instead, he placed a new chair beside it. At first, that simple sight made me cry. Then, one evening, I sat in Nathan's chair while Aaron sat in the new one. Lily was on the floor, drawing. Evan was doing homework at the table. The house was full again. Not the same. Never the same. But alive. A year later, Aaron and I married in the garden behind the house. It was a small ceremony. Evan stood beside Aaron. Lily carried flowers she had grown herself. Before the ceremony began, I went into the workshop alone. Nathan's photograph stood on the shelf. I touched the frame. "I am not leaving you," I whispered. "I am carrying you differently." Then I walked outside. Aaron was waiting under the trees. When he saw me, he smiled. For once, I did not feel guilty for smiling back. Today, grief still visits me. It comes in songs, cold evenings, and the smell of fresh wood. Sometimes I miss Nathan so deeply that I have to stop what I am doing and breathe. Aaron does not fear those moments. He knows that my love for Nathan is not a threat. It is part of the road that brought me here. I once believed the heart had only one room for true love. Now I know it is more like a house built over time. Some rooms hold laughter. Some hold pain. Some remain quiet for years. And sometimes, when we are finally ready, we open a new door. Not because the old love disappeared, but because it taught us how much love the heart can hold. Can loving again ever mean forgetting the person we lost? Maybe the heart does not replace one love with another. Maybe it simply learns to carry the past while opening a new door. What would you choose if love returned after loss?